Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Bretwalda, which is brought to you by Phalanx. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run about 90 to 180 minutes. Britain, 796 AD. The king has breathed his last breath. A new Bretwalda must be crowned. The 4 largest kingdoms of Britain all vie for supremacy. Take control of one of these kingdoms, subdue the Viking raiders, use diplomacy, coercion, and if necessary, brute military strength to overcome your rivals. Each player takes charge of one of the kingdoms of England. Each kingdom has unique leaders and abilities. Victory is achieved through a combination of control of key areas, completing chronicles, and constructing abbeys to support the spread of Christianity across the land. Over 12 seasons, players compete by taking collection, development, mobilization, and movement actions. With only 2 actions permitted per season, each decision is very critical. Each season will see new events, and the armies of Vikings or independent kingdoms may arrive to be bribed or to attack rivals. Bartering and alliance building are essential to success, but with conquest critical to victory, betrayal is never far away. Can you claim the crown in this fast-paced race to become the new Bretwalda? Join me as we take a closer look. To win the game, you must control or possess a number of these Dalcs. Now, these are victory points in the game, and you try to control them in different areas of the board. And based on player count, will determine how many of those will cause an instant win. Now, obviously there's tie conditions as well, but the thing here is that there's a couple other ways. If a player is completely eliminated, the game comes to an end, and whoever possesses the most or controls the most of these Dalcs is going to win. Now, also, you do have the option of playing through all 12 rounds of the game. And if that happens before you've reached that final number of Dalcs, then you'll calculate score at the end of those rounds. But those are really the main ways to win this, and these are the key. These are your victory points throughout the course of the game, and you want to control them, and you will be vying for position as you try to gain control of this map. Now, take a look at this beautiful map. I mean, straight out of the gate, everything about this game looks like stained glass, has that feeling of old England, and all down to all the names and all the different kinds of cards that you can play, all have that feel as well. At one end of the board, you'll find the round tracker. This is also where you'll be tracking the seasons. As you move through different rounds, different seasons happen. So you've got spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And those cards will flip over as you move through the different seasons, causing different events. And there's some built-in events, not events, but built-in effects for each of those seasons as well. At the other end of the board is where you'll be tracking your victory points, and there's a series of cards here. You have the Danes, which come in are basically going to be wreaking havoc Vikings out in the world, and you have to deal with them, and you can even bid to decide where they come out into the world. You bid money to do so. Then you've got your lordship cards, which are going to help you through various things, like help you in battle, so to say, to give you special abilities or points to help you engage and win those battles. Also, you have your chronicle cards. Chronicle cards are like private objectives, and as you achieve these, you're going to get these Dalcs as well. Those are the only ones that can't really be stolen from you, as different territories can be ripped from your grasp. Each player will receive a player board that represents their colored kingdom. On this board, you'll be able to do upgrades, pay for them, obviously. You'll get a number of cards to start, the Chronicle cards as well as one of your Lordship cards to give you special abilities and help you to kind of kick off what you're doing in the game. Now, this is where you'll keep track of your rulers. Now, you have 3 rulers, so you'll have to choose wisely which one you want to use to start, and then through the course of the game, as it will happen, you will lose rulers, and you'll have to replace them with a new ruler. And then you have a series of units, all in your color. You have first your rulers, which you only have 1 of those pawns, but then you've got noblemen, which are a little bit smaller, and then you've got your landowners, which the king can call upon for in times of war, things like that. But then of course you have peasants. And all of these different units use different dice for battle, they use different movement, and some need to be upgraded to move as well. So those all are going to aid you as you try to conquer this world, so to say, and become the next Bretwalda. Now, also this board will be where you'll track which actions that you've taken in any particular round. Each player also has a series of control tokens that are in their color that you'll be laying down into these areas when you do take control or have supremacy in them, so to say, after you win battles or after you just move into an area that's vacant. Now, there's also out on this map, you'll see there's some white units. They're just neutral, but the black ones are the Danes that are going to come out eventually, and they're going to pillage and do all kinds of terrible things when they do come out. So you want to hopefully be the one to control them, or at least decide where they land when they come out into the world. So we're not going to do a deep dive into gameplay, but let me give you a feel for it. And what's nice here is that the turns and the rounds move very quickly. And you really get a sense of it jumping in as a new player, even just after a round or two. So the different phases of a round is that you have the season phase, you have the action phase, and finally the priority phase. Now, this season phase, you're going to be moving the round marker, and based on where it lands will determine what season card gets turned over. All these different seasons are going to do very different things. Now, you'll read the events of the card, and they're going to affect gameplay in some way. So it keeps it very fresh every round based on what season it is, might dictate many different things. In the spring, in this example, you're going to pay one less for development and buildings and so forth. So this is crucial because obviously gold and food are kind of key to all the things you're going to be doing through the course of the game. And then through all the different seasons, and each of them have their own different type of effect in general. So they have different things like, well, I guess except for spring, it doesn't really have anything special beyond what the card says. So in summer, those Danes or those Vikings will arrive and land in spaces on the board. And in autumn, Danes and the neutral, the white ones, you'll see may move. And then in winter, players will have to feed your armies. And if you can't, you're going to lose them. And of course, no food may be collected in the winter. So you'll see that seasons really do come into play as you move through different rounds and what is available to and what is going to help you succeed in taking over the different areas and becoming the next Bretwalda. And then we have the action phase, which is really, I would say, the heart of the game, obviously, as you take advantage of the different areas and different things you can do. Now, you can ever only perform 2 actions on any one round, so you have to be choosy about what you're doing. You have tokens to represent these actions. You'll flip them over and place them on your board once you've completed, and it'll go to the next player, and you'll do this twice around the table. But, again, like I said, you have several to choose from. And of course, you have to have a resource collection action, which is the collection action. It allows you to grab food and gold, and you'll see there's icons on the board to represent those. Also, some buildings will give you additional of areas you control. So we'll take a look at buildings in a sec. And then we have the fjord action, if I'm saying that right, which allows you to deploy and upgrade units and to purchase those lordship cards. Those lordship cards, again, are going to give you special abilities in battle and all kinds of things through the course of the game. Now, upgrading units, you can go from peasants and move up the line as you upgrade them, or deploy new ones to the world. So this is also key, but everything here is going to cost you money to do so, right? And then you have the development action, which allows you to place kingdom tiles and buildings. Now, kingdom tiles are those upgrades you can put on your player board. You have several different slots in the different types of colors, and you have to be somewhat choosy here because you only get to upgrade each of those areas twice. And so I really like this aspect because these different abilities and options can really change up how you play the game, give some nice variety and so forth as well. So don't forget to do that as you play the game because those upgrades really do help a lot. And then as far as buildings go, you have several different types. You've got abbeys, which when you control abbeys, you have a couple different things. You can get additional gold in that collection phase or collection action. And the abbeys also, if you control 3 of them, gives you an extra victory point. So you want to keep that in mind and hold on to abbeys when you have them. And you have granaries, which is all about getting extra food, and you have ports. When you place a port, it's really nice because you can actually exchange food for gold, which is key at sometimes, but it's also a trade-off because you're going to need food when that winter rolls around. And then you have the mead hall, and mead hall, for those that you control, will allow you to get more lordship cards. So lots of interesting things with those buildings as you use them, and don't forget to take control of them or to build them. You know, it's really handy. Again, money, you got to have money to do all these things. The movement action, as you'd expect, you're going to be moving across the world. There's some different movement rates for the different areas you're moving through based on the double line or a single line that you move through, things like that. but all the different units have their own special, movement rate and so forth. And not all the units, especially peasants, can move right away. You got to upgrade things in order to get better movement and so forth. So you move them into an area to try to take control, and as you do so, it is absolutely going to happen. You're going to encounter either neutral units or your fellow players, and then you're going into battle. I really like that these battles are super straightforward. It still has the dice roll off that I enjoy, but they are quick and easy to do. You're going to be rolling dice, comparing shields versus swords, doing damage, eliminating units, and you have a couple chances as the attacker here. And you do have options to retreat as well, but as you engage in these battles, you hope to eliminate all your opponents so you can take control of that area. You have markers for showing the damage they take, like your rulers have a different value in damage they can sustain. Now, you don't hang on to damage after a battle. If you didn't eliminate them, they back off or move away perhaps, and they heal up for the next battle. But the goal is to eliminate your opponent and take control of that spot. And you're just rolling dice, comparing the values, and so forth. Now, you might have cards, lordship cards, that are going to augment and add damage to the battle as well. So you're going to keep that in mind, and cards will be used frequently for this kind of thing. So battles are fun and they're strategic for sure as you try to take control of the certain areas of the board. And the last phase of the round is the priority phase. Now, here you're trying to determine who that next first player is, or pretender. As the pretender, you get to decide which way the game flows, clockwise or counterclockwise. You have a token to represent that, you flip it over whichever way. Also, in certain situations, you get to determine ties as the pretender. You're kind of the pretend ruler, so to say. Now, how you determine that is based on who has the most victory points. Again, controlling those Dalcs tokens and so forth, but there might be ties, which will happen quite frequently. So whoever has the most land, whoever has the most gold, lots of ways to break that tie. And you'll get that token, whoever the first player is. Now, you also have those chronicle cards, which are your private objectives. You have the option here to exchange one for a new one. Now, you only ever get 2 of these cards through the game, and you can only complete 2 of them per game as well. So they're going to be worth 2 victory points total. But the thing here is that those cards are really key to some of the things to get you that extra push or extra point value through the course. I really like that aspect, giving you some sort of private goal to achieve. I like that in games as well, really well done. So that's really the main overview of how this game flows. Now, in the summertime, when those Danes, those Vikings show up, this is interesting, is that you're going to be bidding. So you'll take your gold and you're going to do that blind bid, everyone flips their hand over kind of thing. And whoever wins that bidding that gold is going to determine where these Danes are going to go. So you'll pull that many cards, however much gold you bid, and then you get to basically go through those and determine where those Danes are going to land. And when they do land, they start to pillage. So all the areas around where they have landed, they're going to put pillage tokens, which causes you to not be able to get food and things in those certain areas. So it might be key in order to win that bid to place them in a spot where your opponents are going to be set up to fail. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, the interesting thing here is that, there's a lot going on, but turns move really quickly. You make those decisions about which action you're performing, and then it just quickly moves to the next. So once you play a couple rounds, it really does start to gel and feel really meaningful about which actions you take and when you take them. Also, I really like this artwork. Oh my gosh, it does a lot to pull me into the game. It feels very Old English or stained glass feel. It definitely adds a lot of flavor, and I find that really well done. But the different abilities and things you can upgrade on your characters, or your kingdoms, I should say, and that whole feeling of racing to get to the crown or the Bretwalda, be that final winner, is a lot of fun in this game. But folks, really, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.